Have you ever sent a letter through the mail that for whatever reason never reached its intended destination? It can be very frustrating. I work at the U.S. Postal Service, and one of our most important tasks is to make sure that every piece of mail gets to its intended recipient. Sometimes I have a hard time doing that because the address on the envelope is incomplete, incorrect, or illegible. For example, when I was working recently, I was sorting the mail, and I came across a letter for Grandma and Grandpa Becker with no street address, no return address, which might have given me a clue as to which Grandma and Grandpa Becker I needed to give it. And this is just one example. According to about USPS.com, thousands of letters every day aren't delivered because the address is incomplete, incorrect, or illegible. Now, all of us learned back in elementary school how to properly prepare an envelope for mailing. But with more services today that make communication faster, we don't use this skill or the Postal Service. But there are still times when you need to send something through the mail, and you must know how to properly prepare it. So today I would like to show you how to properly prepare a piece of mail according to some information I found on USPS.com, and properly put the addresses on the envelope and the postage. So the first thing I would like to do is to go over some information that I found on USPS.com. This information will make this letter easier for the Postal Service to read. They suggest that you put all of the information, the sender's address and the receiver's address and the postage, on the same side of the envelope, the blank side. They suggest that you print the addresses parallel with the long side of the envelope. They also suggest that you use capital letters because they're easier to use, and also that you print clearly and large enough so that you're able to read your address when you hold your envelope out at arm's length. Also, they suggest that you avoid using punctuation, and also make sure that you use the correct zip code. And if you're not sure of the zip code, you can find that on USPS.com. So now that we've covered a few important instructions, get your envelope, a sharp tip marker, an ink pen, and the postage, and let's get this envelope ready to mail. So the first thing we're going to do is put some addresses on our envelope. The first address we're going to be putting on is the return address. This is the sender's address, and it's the return address because this is where the envelope will be returned if the Postal Service, for some reason, is unable to deliver it. So on the first line, you're going to have the sender's name. On the second line, you're going to have the sender's street address or P.O. box. And on the third line, you're going to have the sender's street or city, state, and zip code. The second address you're going to put on the envelope is the receiver's address. The receiver's address will go in the center of the envelope, and it tells the Postal Service where to deliver the mail. On the first line again is the receiver's name. On the second line is the street address or P.O. box. And on the third line is the city, state, and zip code for the receiver. So now that we've properly addressed the envelope, let's put the postage on it. The last thing you're going to do before you mail your letter is put the postage on. And the postage is going to go up in the upper right-hand corner. And you want to make sure that you don't go over the edges, and you want to make sure that you put all of the corners down on the stamp. If the stamp goes over the edge of the envelope, or if the corners are up, the stamp may be pulled off during the processing. And if that happens, the letter may be returned to you. So now we have our letter properly addressed, and it's ready to mail. So finally, we've got the return address, the receiver's address or the mailing address, and the postage, and our letter is ready to mail. The Postal Service will be able to read it and send it and deliver it to where it needs to go. Now, this may or may not be a letter to Grandma and Grandpa Becker, but I'm sure whoever it goes to will be just as happy to receive it. Thank you.